Is Donald Trump going to be reelected, or do the powers that be have somebody else in mind? Joe Biden starts yet another unconstitutional war, and we got a lunatic teacher in Seattle. Stay tuned, everybody. Hey, if you're looking for fast, reliable internet, you need to check out Connecting Internet. It is wonderful. What's so great about it is you can take it with you. That means anywhere you go from now on, you take this with you and you're online. Connecting Internet, great download speeds, great upload speeds. Anywhere you go, you're online. You're never without internet. Connecting is fantastic. Trailertrashtim highly recommends Connecting. The links are down below. Check them out and do yourself a favor for great internet that's mobile. You can take it with you anywhere. Connecting Internet. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. I am Trailer Trash Tim, and a happy Monday to you all. It is cold in Alabama. Much of the country is mired in the throes of a deep freeze. I think it's like 17 degrees here, which is really cold for the sunny South. It's much colder. I think they're in single digits where Marina is in Missouri right now. A little update with Marina and her dad. He's just really suffering a good deal right now. He's going to be scheduled for surgery now to have his prostate removed. And he's just really struggling with some issues there. So Marina's there with him, trying to tend to him. That's the update. Just keep them in your thoughts and prayers if you would. I would be very appreciative. She says hello. She loves you all and misses you and hopes to be back very soon, and I hope she's back soon too, but it is what it is, and she's got to take care of her dad, you know, along with Benita there in Missouri. So our hearts go out to them, right? I miss her, man, I'll tell you. So does Kiki, especially Kiki. All right, I want to start with this, and I've got to ask the question, will Donald Trump actually be reelected as President of the United States? What do you think? Now, according to the polls, if they are to be believed, and I actually think in this regard they're largely right, Donald Trump is running away with the GOP nomination and headed for a collision course with whomever the Democratic nominee is. Right now it's Joe Biden. Whether he makes it or not, who knows? But you just get the sense that that Trump has a free path to the White House if all things were equitable and all things were above board, which of course we know they're not. We've already had at least one election stolen, and nothing's to say they wouldn't do it again. I mean, why not? They did it once, why not do it again? If things were somewhat normal, I think that it's pretty much a done deal that Trump would be reelected to the presidency. But there are people out there who are beginning to wonder whether he's going to be allowed to get anywhere near the White House with this deluge of legal struggles that he's going through right now. All these frivolous, trumped up, no pun intended, charges against him by people like Fannie Willis and her highly paid boyfriend, Nathan Wade, by people like Judge Arthur Engeron, the Scrooge in New York, and little Letitia James, who comes to court the other day with her Starbucks cup, plops it down on the table and kicks her shoes off and rubs her feet while the trial is going on. Really? Where is this allowed in a courtroom anywhere? Have you ever been in a courtroom? Were you allowed to bring in your Starbucks coffee into the courtroom? I think not. Were you allowed to kick your shoes up and just prop up? Can you imagine if Trump had done that? These people are just disgraceful. But among the people who are questioning whether or not Donald Trump will be reelected are one of his rivals for the nomination and the man that I am supporting, and that, of course, would be Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek maintains that Donald Trump will not be allowed anywhere near the White House again. And he very well may be right. Basically, Vivek's theory goes like this. They're going to do anything that they can do. And Vivek says this, and pay close attention. Vivek says, in essence, they are going to do anything they can, and he means anything, fill in the blanks, if you will, to keep Donald Trump out of the White House. What they're doing right now, what they've done is rig the election to keep him from being reelected, and now they are just absolutely bombarding him with all of these frivolous lawsuits. But if that doesn't work, what's next? Anybody want to venture a guess? If Vivek doesn't come right out and say what's next, but he does make it very clear with a wink and a nod, they will do anything to keep Trump out of the White House. And his theory, as I started, is that once they get Trump out of the picture, that they already have their candidate ready to go. And their candidate is not in the Democratic Party. Not that that matters, because as I've stated in the past, what difference does it really make if you got a Bush or a Kerry, or a Romney or a McCain or an Obama or a Bush or a Clinton? These people, as I've stated, are interchangeable. They just have a different letter by their name, which means almost nothing. Think about it, folks. Bush versus Kerry, what was the difference? Both of them members of the same fraternity, both of them skull and bonesmen. Was that really a difference? And Vivek is saying they've got their candidate ready to go already. And that candidate, once they get Trump out of the way, is little Nikki neocon Haley, who might have DeSantis as her running mate. He maintains, and I believe that he's correct about this, that the candidate of choice for the powers that be, the deep state, if you will, the Council on Foreign Relations, if you will, is neocon Nikki Haley. And let me tell you, it makes a lot of sense. They'd never say it outright, in all likelihood, but the Democrats, by and large, the ones that really matter, the Schumers of the world, the Clintons of the world, the powerful Democrats in Washington, the truth of the matter is they'd be fine with neocon Nikki Haley, and that's just a fact. Why? Because she's just like them. She is absolutely bought and paid for. She is a neocon extraordinaire. She hits all the points. She's like another Bush. She's like a Romney. She's like a McCain. This woman leaves the office of United Nations ambassador virtually bankrupt, and just years later, she is a multi-millionaire thanks to the Boeing Industries. Bought and paid for by the military-industrial complex. So she's just the ticket. The Democrats would never say it. But if it wound up being Nikki Haley against either Biden or Gavin Newsom, they'd be fine if Haley won. And this is what Vivek is maintaining, and this is why he's saying, since Trump will not be allowed near the White House again, I'm the alternative. That's what he's saying. Now, he may be right, he may be wrong, but it does make a lot of sense. And I'm telling you, we at least need a backup plan to Trump, and it ain't Nikki Haley, and it ain't Ron DeSantis. I believe that Vivek, in terms of what he says, in terms of the policies he endorses, he is the ideal candidate. Does he have a chance? Well, he believes he does. I'm certainly supporting him right now, and I'm encouraging everybody that listens to me that is able to cast a vote, or even if you're not, to support Vivek. What have we got to lose? I mean, if Vivek can actually pull off a miracle this Tuesday and tomorrow in Iowa, or is it tonight? I'm not sure when they convene for the caucus. It's either tonight or tomorrow. But if Vivek is able to manage a miracle and win this thing, we've got a whole new ball game, folks. It's exciting when you think about it. Now, look, I've had my little political heart broken so many times. I was all in 08 and 12 for Ron Paul. And of course, Ron Paul had it stolen from him by Mitt Romney at the convention. I won't get into that, but it's the truth. And here we are again. So I don't want to get my heart broken again, although I likely will. But I am all in right now for Vivek Ramaswamy. I hope he does well. It would be a dream come true if this man could ascend to the White House. But let me tell you, it's a tall ask. It's a big ask. But if it is the case that Trump will not be allowed to get back to the White House again, we need a fail-safe. We need a backup plan. And I believe that is Vivek. Now, I want to move on to more about neocon Nikki Haley, because Rand Paul came out on Friday or Saturday to announce, he didn't give a political endorsement. He had announced the previous day on Twitter, X, that he was going to be making an announcement about the presidential election. So he came back the next day and he gave his announcement. His announcement was not an endorsement of Trump or Vivek or DeSantis or anybody else. He just came out and announced who he will not, under any certain terms, support. And that person, you guessed it, is neocon Nikki Haley. And Rand Paul, Senator of Kentucky and a good guy, basically said, I will in no way, shape, form, or fashion support neocon Nikki Haley, and I want to encourage all of you not to support her as well. And he went so far as to establish a website that is called nevernikki.net. Nevernikki, Nikki.net. Nevernikki.net. You can go there and see what Rand is talking about. There's a video there that I recommend you watch. And I could not agree with him more. There's no way, folks, that we need to get a Nikki Haley in the White House. That would just be, the gloves would be off, the bombs would be flying. She is bought and paid for by the military-industrial complex and super PACs who fund her. You know who's funding Vivek Ramaswamy's campaign? Vivek Ramaswamy. He is not bought. He is not paid for. He does not have a Boeing supporting him, or a Koch brother supporting him, or the bought and paid for owner of LinkedIn supporting him. He doesn't have any of that. He just has his very articulate and convincing voice and his policy positions. Can you imagine if we woke up this November after Election Day and the president-elect and the vice president-elect was something like Vivek and Rand Paul? This old boy would be singing, "Oh, happy day." In any case, go check out nevernikki.net and make sure nobody you care about votes for this hideous. I mean, this is like Hillary Clinton with a younger body. That's exactly what she is. She's another Hillary Clinton. Just not as hideous. Let me get to this, because yet again, we have an American president who has launched a war, another war, an unconstitutional war, and the bombs are flying yet again. And I've got to pull up a quote that is going to be relevant to this story. I've got it right here I posted on X. By the way, if you're not following me on social media, I am on X, and you can find me there. The link is down below to my X or Twitter account. I got a little sip of coffee here. Pardon me, please. Joe Biden has launched more missiles into Yemen. May I remind you, if you are an American citizen, this is unconstitutional. It is a flagrant violation of the Constitution. Not that anybody cares about that anymore, certainly not in Washington. Nobody in Washington, except a Rand Paul or a Thomas Massey or a Mike Lee, nobody else, and a few others, J.D. Vance, maybe Josh Hawley, nobody is constrained by the Constitution anymore. Nobody cares about it anymore. They just do whatever they want to do, willy-nilly, just go. If they feel like doing it, by George, they're going to do it. What do you mean we're supposed to consult with Congress on war? No, we're just going to do it. I mean, Bush did it, Clinton did it, Obama did it, Trump didn't do it, that I'm aware of anyway. But here, and you remember when the Democrats were the anti-war party? They're not anymore, are they? We just have a uni-party when it comes to war and taxes and things like that. Everybody's for it now, both parties. They're all in for war. Unrestrained, eternal, constant wars against countries that have done nothing to us, We can't mind our own business. We got to make war all over the world, but we can't guard our own border, for heaven's sakes. And here goes Joe Biden launching yet another constitutional war against Yemen this time. Doesn't consult with Congress, doesn't even give a speech, doesn't wait for a vote, doesn't wait for anybody in Congress to bring up a vote on whether or not we should go to war with Yemen, for heaven's sakes. He just does it on his own volition. Absolutely unconstitutional, absolutely outrageous. But I want to share with you something that good old demented Joe Biden tweeted back in January the 6th, does that date ring a bell, of 2020. This is what the man said. I quote, "Let's be clear. Donald Trump does not have the authority to take us into war with Iran without congressional approval. A president should never take this nation to war without the informed consent of the American people." Is your head spinning around right now? Joe Biden said that. Hypocrite much, Joe? Can you believe it? Of course you can believe it. This is Joe Biden. This is a Democrat. This is what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They can say anything. Just make sure they get in office. And once they get in office, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. Constitution be damned. Will of the people be damned. It doesn't matter. Just give us war and lots of it, because that's where the big money is, don't you know? Here he is, all outraged on January the 6th of 2020, saying Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to take us into war with Iran without congressional approval. You know what, Joe? You were right. So what happened, buddy? It's okay when you're president, right? But don't let Trump do it. But it's okay for you to do it. Unbelievable. All right, let me give you one more story. This comes from mynorthwest.com, and it is posted by a man named Jason Rantz. That's his name, R-A-N-T-Z. Jason Rantz is a talk show host in Seattle, Tacoma. And he posted this a couple of days ago on this website. Listen at this. The headline reads thusly: Seattle teacher told students identifying as straight is offensive. This is in Seattle, Washington, one of the homes of the loony left. A controversial Seattle teacher allegedly told students that identifying as straight is offensive. He even scolded some of his male students for being a product of the patriarchy that teaches young boys not to care. It resulted in a parent filing a complaint with Chief Sealth High School, Chief Sealth, S-E-A-L-T-H, High School. In defending the teacher, Seattle Public Schools offered what appears to be a verifiably false statement to the media. 10th grade ethnic studies world history teacher and self-identified communist Ian Golosh asked students to complete a social identity wheel worksheet according to the parent, who asked for anonymity. It asks students to explain their various identities, including racial, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic status, physical, emotional, or developmental disabilities, and sexual orientation. The worksheet is intended to tell students that their identities determine whether they receive unearned privilege or oppression. The parent's 15-year-old son labeled himself straight. Golosh took issue with that word because it implies that not to be straight is to be crooked, which could have a negative connotation. The student's mother shared an email thread with the Jason Rantz show on KTTH. In it, she complains about the comment to Golosh and the school's principal Ray Garcia Morales. When filling out a social identity wheel, her son, was told that if he identifies as straight, that he needed to pick a term that was less offensive. It is completely inappropriate to dictate what terms a student can and cannot use to identify themselves with, unquote, the mom wrote in a September 24th, 2023 email. Golosh said he did not target her son with his comment. He did, however, admit to saying something similar to the entire classroom. In the email response to the mother, Golosh allegedly told the parent that he stated explicitly that I was not going to tell them how they should identify except to explain the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality. But he did cast aspersions on identifying as straight. He said, quote, because I think language has power and that it shapes the culture we live in. I did say to the class in response to a student that I do not use the term straight because it implies that not to be straight is to be crooked, which could have a negative connotation, Golosh wrote. But again, stated that I am not interested in telling them how they should identify and that the wheel they are completing is for their own reflection, not for me to assess. And it goes on and on and on and on. You can read it yourself if you like. It's on mynorthwest.com. Let me ask you all a question. I got to get a sip of coffee. Whatever happened to the 4 R's? Whatever happened to reading, writing, and arithmetic? 3 R's, 4 R's? When did our schools become a sexualized cesspool? Why are our students not being taught about American history, world history, how to read, how to write, how to add, how to subtract, how to do geometry, how to balance a checkbook? Whatever happened to classes in home economics and workshop, metal shop, woodworking? Whatever happened to real education in America? I'll tell you what happened. It has been taken over by the lunatic left that has their communist agenda, as Mr. Golosh is, their sexualized, deviant agenda, where they want to inculcate young people with their perverted, sexualized agenda. Instead of studying math or science or history or English, we're asking everybody what they identify as, gay or straight. In my school, I never got sexualized content. Why? Because it's not the forum for such a thing. Sexual content should be a product of the home, not the school. I don't want any child going to school learning about sexual issues. That's for your mama and your daddy to talk to you about. Or your preacher, but not your teacher. But these lunatics on the left have their agenda, their woke agenda, that they want to shove down the throats of American students. And where are they doing it? In government indoctrination centers, otherwise known as public schools. If you are an American parent listening to me right now and you have a child in a government indoctrination center, why have you not taken them out? Why are you exposing them to this kind of crap that is going to dilute their minds, warp their minds, and ruin their minds? Are you going over their curriculum? Are you reviewing the work that they're assigned? Life in America, my friends, life in America. This is what we're fighting against in America. Some of us that still have our wits about us. in a sane world, people like Mr. Golosh here would not be educating children. They might be flipping burgers till they got their minds right. But Mr. Golosh undoubtedly was educated, got his BA or his BS in an American university, and he got a lot of the latter. He got it honestly, because the lunatic fringe left has completely co-opted the American education system from K through 12 on up the chain, all the way to places such as the once esteemed, Harvard University, where the president just finally had to give her resignation because of being a plagiarist. And isn't it outrageous to you that the faculty supported her? You remember when plagiarism in academia used to be a thing? And if you did it, you got expelled or fired because it wasn't tolerated. Now it's almost celebrated. Harvard University. This is where we are. If you got a young son or daughter coming of age, send them to truck driving school. Send them to trade school. Let them learn how to be a plumber or an electrician. Unless they want to go to law school or medical school, maybe it's a different proposition. Otherwise, don't expose your kids to perverts like this Golosh fellow. This is what we're fighting against, folks. This is why we've got to keep people such as neocon Nikki Haley out of the White House. And if Trump can't make it, we've got to have a backup plan. Of course, for me, Vivek is not a backup plan. He is my plan. That doesn't mean I wouldn't support Donald Trump, because if it comes down to it, I will if I have the opportunity. But my preference is Vivek, and I hope you give him a listen. Go watch his videos. I highly recommend it. Listen, it was a rough weekend. We lost Gonzalo Lira, and I talked about that over the weekend. But all we can do is fight. All we can do is keep plugging, keep going. Those of you that joined my channel over the weekend, we had a few hundred join, and I appreciate you being here. But listen, stay with me. I can't do videos all the time, especially now about Gonzalo, but I do my best to bring the news to you as best I can. So if you subscribe, stick with me, and I'm going to do my best to stay on top of things and share them with you every day. So come back and watch me. I post a video almost every day, and I do my best to keep you informed. I appreciate you being here. If you would do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that. Give me a comment down below. I'd like to see what your thoughts are. Thank you for being with me, everybody. Stay warm, and I will see you soon.